I'm not showing you every rule, actually. I think Dr. Galnavi's class is going through every rule. I'm just going through the ones that are important, and that's it, because there's a lot. So I'm showing you, this one's called backward product rule or integration by parts. There's a lot to absorb, but here's my worry. If I give you a quiz on this by Monday, that doesn't really give you time to practice things and understand them. This is not easy. If I wait for the final, knowing my behavior of my classes right now, they'll wait till the day before. So what do? Huh? Oh, it has to be on the final. Our finals are evaluated, by the way. These things are missing. We do this for our department. We should have done this for pre-calc. I don't know what the heck you guys got on your pre-calc finals, but that should have had a lot more content from what I'm seeing. So, but for our finals, they're evaluated and looked at where the content is there. So I'm missing integration. That'll show up. Yes. Yeah. Realize if I don't give this, you won't study, and it will be all wrong on the final. I'll give you practice problems, but I'm asking you guys to do things on your own then. And so far, that's not happened. That's not happened. So think again to the Calc 2 ROC curve. How many people do you think under that 55 thought they were going to pass the class? How many of you thought that they sat in through the whole class? How many of you think that they thought I'm not going to fail? All of them. They sat in there. They didn't drop, right? So they thought they're going to pass, right? So they did not do the right things. With a 99% certainty, they were going to fail. Their behaviors did not change. So just take that and say, can I do things without direction? I'm asking you to do it without direction. It's kind of hard. Huh? I just gave you the reasons why. If I don't push you to study, you won't study. Right? That's been the MO of our classes, or 2 classes. So what I'm thinking is a quiz on Monday with an easier version of this, so you at least warm up and do something. Because if you don't, I'm going MO here. The MO is I'll wait till the fire's flaming and then I'll study. So I don't think that's a good idea. It's not in my favor. I have to grade the thing. So it's like more work for me. No. You know why? What happens with open notebook quiz? I just look at my notes. I'll be fine. Yeah, you need to be able to do these things with mastery, and mastery is not open notebook. So I'll give you like sample problems that I'll select from, so that it'll guide you, and then I'll give you a set of problems that you should practice on. If you're on the low end of the grading score, you should do them all, because there is no tomorrow. Really, that you're waiting for, well, I'll wait till this is actually a big problem. It already is a big problem. There is no tomorrow. You have to do it. So I'll give you part of it that's self-directed and part of it that you have to do in class. I hope Tuesday, right? I mean Wednesday when we come back. I've been turning things back within one day. Monday's our last class? Tuesday's a Friday. Are you sure we don't have class Wednesday? I can certainly leave it out on I have to be here every day, because you know what they're doing? They're doing the same thing that you guys are getting in class. 10 chapters in the last week. We're getting 10 meetings a day. So I'll be here. I'll be here and stick the thing inside my that folder that's outside my door so you can pick it up. No, you can check them on Mathway. I don't want to do that because especially with our sections, I'm beating up on you guys, but actually our 1 o'clock section is the worst section. What'll happen with the answers is they'll review the answers, and that's what they'll do for studying. I saw all the answers, and they even tell me those kind of things. So if you actually have to go to Mathway and plug it in, and you can, if you go to the calculus thing, there's a thing called integration, and it will do it for you, so you can check your answers. And then you can text me, hey, my answer didn't match up with Mathway. Here's my work. Where did I go wrong? That's more instructive for you. I'm sorry, I'm annoying. I stick to that one thing. I have to make sure you master it. That's my job. Understand that on your end, you want to pass the class or you want to get an A, and those are your on your end. Those two things should be aligned. You're getting an A should mean that you master the material. Or you're getting a C minus should mean that you have C minus mastery of the material. So all of that should be aligned. Okay. It's a formula. That sounded like my phone. I like Pavlov reacted to it. I used to have a BlackBerry. When the BlackBerry ding went off for someone else, I'd be like, endorphins, dopamine rush. So here, it's a formula, but it's a step-by-step process when you apply this formula, and it is backwards from product rule, and that's why you can't integrate anything that you're given, because there's got to be a formula going, please put your phones away. There's got to be a formula going the other way, right? You've got to be in that form, and so not everything's in that form. Oh, I had it written wrong, I guess. Let me see. Did I? Let me just go through the steps because I know the steps are right. So I chose a toy problem just to illustrate this. You take x sine x, that's a product, and you're going to use a backward product rule, which I would prove in a Calc 1 class. Not effective here. We're not going to do the proof. Let me make sure that I have this recorded. Yeah, it's recording. So you choose one part to be u and the other to be dv. You have to make a choice. I'm going to choose x to be my u and my sine x to be my dv. Why? The dv should be something that you can integrate, so you want to make sure that you can easily find the antiderivative. And the u should be something that when you take the derivative, it gets better looking. The whole idea is to make this thing better looking. In integration, the one key thing is at every step of the way, it should look easier and easier and easier. If it looks worse and worse and worse, something's badly going wrong. So that's the first step. You make the choice. One of the things in the product is your u, and one of the things in your product is the dv. What's the derivative of x? 1. It's 1. So that makes it easier, right? When I take the derivative of x, it's gotten easier looking. 1 is easier than x. If you show a kid in 8th grade, you get to work with x or you get to work with 1, they're going to pick 1. You get to not work at all, they'll pick that. Because that's what kids do in 8th grade. So I recopied this, so if you're still taking down notes, it's up there at the top. I made that choice because when I take the derivative of x, it got easier. When I integrate sine, it's something like a cosine, right? The antiderivatives of sines and cosines are flip-flopped. So it's gotten no worse. If I had made the choice the other way around, integrating x instead of taking the derivative of x, integrating x is x squared divided by 2. It's gotten worse. Everybody agree x squared is worse than x? So it's gotten worse. So that's a bad choice. So that's how you make the choice. So that next step is to find du and v, because that's what you need in that formula. Du is 1, as you've told me. The derivative of x is 1. And dv is, well, the antiderivative of cosine is cosine, but I need the minus sign because the derivative of cosine is minus sign. So I have to offset I have to think backwards. And then I just mentally check. If I take the integral of 1, I get x. I'm back where I started. If I take the derivative of minus cosine x, I get positive sine x, which is back to where I started. So you can check your work. In fact, I should put that in there, checking your work as we go along. Because you mess this up one way, it's just the whole thing is bad. The whole thing is bad. It's a bloodbath. These things are a bloodbath. These things can actually get much more complicated in the regular Calc 1 class. So notice my little mental check here. Got easier, got no worse. What? Yeah, this is not substitution. Totally different method. I think we have like a recipe cookbook of methods for integration at the end of Calc 1 for the last 2 or 3 weeks. So there's like 10 different methods. So I'm slamming you with 2 of them now. So the was in the original. Yeah, don't worry about that yet. It's going to show up in a second. So it's not gone. It's just a different method. It's not a substitution. Remember, the goal of substitution was to take all the x's and erase them and replace them with u's. This is not the same method. This is a different method. So you're not erasing any, you're not doing anything with the dx's yet. I just did this for a toy problem. No, it could be anything. It could be x times e to the x. It could be x times log x. And in fact, I'm going to use logs. What? If it's a product, that's when you apply this rule. Right? When you have a product. X times sine x. So it's a product. So here you wouldn't use substitution because there's no inner, there's nothing inside. It's a product. It's kind of like taking derivatives. You have to figure out which method. And so you can feel their pain. We can just go walk past a Calc 1 class. They're not going to look happy in there right now. They're getting 10 of these different methods, and they have to figure out on their own which one works where. And it's the last couple weeks of classes. They're not happy. And I don't even know them. I can tell you they're not happy. We can just look on West now and see who's got Calc 1 and just walk past and look inside. It doesn't matter who the teacher is. They're going to be unhappy in there. So next step is to find DV. We did that. Notice that my little mental check got easier. I do a lot of book checking along the way because there's so much involved here. So this is what I got. That's the original formula. The integral of x times sine x is uv minus the integral of v du. That's the formula. You pop it in. You plug everything into this formula. That was my u and dv. U times v, I just plug them in mindlessly. Anytime I don't have to use my mind, I let it rest. This is the algorithm. You just plug it in. And notice see the dx's reappeared there. I wasn't substituting or getting rid of them. I was re-expressing the entire set of integration. Plugging. So the integration by parts is nice because it's a formula and is less thought-provoking than a substitution. The only decision you have to make here is which one's your u and which one's your dv. That's the only decision. The rest of it is turning a crank. This is what I do next. This is what I do next. This is what I do next. And making sure that you bookkeep and don't screw up any of those steps along the way. So I copied and pasted that yellow. It's right there. Say it again? Yes, yes. Because remember the du was 1. So that's why I'm emphasizing for you what it is. Otherwise, so this was uv was right here. This was u. This was v. This was v du. So I'm emphasizing that that's there. Otherwise, you might not know where it comes from. And now it's just turning the crank, man. It's horrible as it is. That is what it is. So here I do the f of b minus f of a, Joule. F of b minus f of a, there it is again, where you take the top limit. Remember I told you at the beginning of the semester, you don't actually learn math, you just get used to it. You get used to it, you see it a few times, you get used to it. And so, and then minus the integral, I get this. I'm so careful, man, I probably still made a minus sign error somewhere. The antiderivative of cosine is sine. Derivative of sine is cosine. These two minuses cancel and you make plus. Oh, did I mention out the dash of minus sign error that you also have enriching these problems? There's a lot of places you can mess up here. Take your pick. No, 0 times cosine 0, 0. Yeah, I don't know why it did that. I think that was a copy paste thing. It's basically cosine of 0. It's not. It looks like a cosine again. It's not. It's my messy 0 with parentheses. It's u. It's v du. So if you go back to the formula, it's V du. Du is 1, right? And that, if you, I had a long conversation with a professor about this. We have done so many of these that it's almost second nature when we do them now. That it's obvious to me that the whole game was to get it to this place and make this piece easy. So my choice of du's got to be really simple so that it goes away, and it does. In this case, du was 1. And so that was the whole point of this, that I can do this. I couldn't do the original straightforward, but I can do this integration right here. F of B minus F of A. B was 1, A was 0. So I'm plugging in. The squiggly has gone away. Monday's lecture. 0, 1 is still there. So I'm not done integrating. But you bring up a good point. You know what? After some of my students do algebra, they think they're done. For some reason, they think they're done. You still have to integrate this last term. You're not done here. And you see me carrying it forward. Here's my integral. It's still there. Here, and now I took the antiderivative, and it's this. So each step of the way, I'm simplifying it further and further. Should this feel a little reminiscent of pre-calc, where you're just grinding out stuff? Yes? F of B minus F of A. I'm plugging in 1 into this, and then I'm plugging in 0 into this. It comes from the formula from Monday's class, right? Louder. Because you're supposed to plug in 1 for all the x's. 1 goes in for this x and 1 goes in for this x. I'm not done with it. I still have to finish this integral. As long as that little hair thing is there. Yeah. If I did it separately 1 by 1, we would have 10 more slides. I've got to do some of the work on the side. And again, this is why I think we saw that AUC to be like that cutoff is 55. I think that if you just don't have the skills to be in Calc 2, you're just going to be, it's going to be devastating. And we actually did a mining of data from students who are failing Calc 2, for example. They got C minuses. So that C minus that they got previously just devastated them in Calc 2. Right? But it's funny, like if you had to go back to a pre-calc class, you would probably tell them now, man, pay attention. But when you're sitting in that pre-calc class, that's not how you feel. You feel like, I just want to get out of here. Right? It's really a tough thing. But my only thing for the Calc 2 is they're often math majors or chem majors or molecular bio. They knew what they were getting into. If they didn't, change your major. Right? You're going to be doing a lot of math. You better not be getting C minuses in them. Okay, I'm going to give you time to review this as a video because it's a lot, it's dense and it's packed, and it's not anything that by this little pieces that's difficult. It's pulling it all together that's difficult.